All right, all right. Welcome, everyone. It's episode 101. I almost can't believe it, but yeah, we're getting there. For those who don't know the guests, I'm gonna give you guys like a super short introduction. First guest has been on the show at least two, maybe even three times by now. Uh,
I don't remember. A few
yeah,
times.
a few times. Um, he's the much like the captain of the much feared AT team known as Hydra. Sometimes they mix their names up for different reasons. You might get confused every now and then. Happened to me before. There's actually a Twitch clip of me like pointing it out and like, oh, what was it? Karma Feet, right? That was the
Yeah,
in-game
Karma
corp.
Feet.
Yeah, I was like, oh, it's Karma Fleet. So yeah, don't
That
get
was
confused
actually
too
our best
much.
corp ever, truthfully.
It was. I fell for it. I should have known, but
Yeah.
so don't get too confused. Generally known as Hydra. Everyone knows them as Hydra. He's actually dodging a baby shower to be on the show today. I
So
appreciate that
stoked
very
about
much.
that. I really hope no normies watch this. But yeah, I'm supposed to be at a baby shower. Thank you, Pando, for getting me out of that.
Yeah. So welcome back, Casper. And then my second guest comes highly recommended. Um, he joined Hydra and participated the same year he joined in the AT already, which, Casper told me is actually quite a feat. So it's like you don't, that's not the norm. People have done it before, but it's not usually what happens. So he must have performed right away out the
He
game.
did real well.
And I was told um, he's striving um, to become what his idol Chessor used to be back then. I'm not quite
Something like
sure how
that.
much. I'm not quite sure how much of truth that is to that statement, but I just put it out there. So yeah, thanks for coming on, BrainStraw.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So
Yeah,
tell,
him. Oh,
sorry,
go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just instantly saying like, tell me about that bromance with Chessor. I don't know anything of that. The lore.
Yes. I guess I'll just go back to when I started. I got into Eve originally because of my dad, funnily enough, and I started this game, I guess technically when I was like 11. Um, and
Oh
then I was
wow.
playing. Yeah, it's been a long time. I started very young, but I played on his accounts for the first couple years, and then I got really into it, and so I just decided to make my own character. And the account that BrainStraw is actually on used to be my dad's old account, and so he made like the character for me and everything. So I never even chose this name. Like I just logged in one day, and my dad was like, "Oh, here's your character name." I was like, "Okay."
Oh
And then
really?
yeah,
That's
and
weird.
then I played. Um, I don't know if anyone knows. There was this low sec group called Cruiser's Crew, and I played with them for
I do know these
probably.
guys. I,
Yeah, they were like my OG corp, and they were really cool. The leader of that corp, Cersei's, is like probably my first, I guess, real friend in this game. Um, and then I kind of after 2 years of playing with them, I took a little bit of a break for like a year from the game in general, and then I came back and I joined Black Legion. Um, and I flew with Black Legion for probably like 8 months. But the I didn't really enjoy the whole blobby gameplay that much, so I started doing more solo stuff in low sec and small gang things in null sec, and I ended up meeting uh, Wild Things, who was already in Warlords at the time, through somebody in Black Legion. They were already friends, and the guy in Black Legion was like, "Hey, you should hit up Wild. Like, you might enjoy flying with him." So I was like, "Okay." So I poked him. He invited me to go roaming with Warlords for like a month as a trial type thing. And Warlords of the Deep, for I guess people who may not know, is just Hydra basically. It's just like another one of our monikers. But yeah, I played with them for
it's
like a month.
confusing, guys. I'm not keeping track either. So anyone who doesn't,
Yeah,
Waters of the Deep, I'm pretty aware though.
yeah. It's a bunch of different names, but yeah. So I flew with them for like a month, and then the whole lore behind how me and Chester became really close is right after he posted his like first Slicer video, the Scorchlight one, where he got like really, really big. I watched it and I was like, this is really cool. Like, I want to do shit like that. And so he was in the Bringing Solo Back channel at the time, and he was just like asking if people wanted to roam. And I just like took a shot because he didn't know who I was at this point, but I was in his corp. So I was like, yo, I'm down to roam if you want. And so we went to Brave staging, GE TAC at the time when they like first formed and were living in Catch.
Still one of my favorite systems of all
Still the
time.
best system
It's
ever.
it's one of the best eras of content of all time. But yeah, so him and he was like, okay, let's just fly some cheap stuff. So we went in a Tristan and a Stabber, and we just fragged out in Brave. And I mean, it wasn't anything like impressive, right? We were just killing like Atrons and T1 frigs and stuff like that. But after that evening is pretty much the whole lore behind it.
Bromance.
And
Romance.
yeah, the bromance. We just started, we were shooting the shit on comms, and it was pretty. I don't know. It just felt pretty normal. Like it wasn't like weird. It wasn't this like whole, oh my god, I'm flying with Chesser. It's just kind of a friendly roam, and then yeah, after that we pretty much roamed together every day. And uh, at this point, like when I had joined Warlords, I was fresh out of high school, so I just had like infinite time on my hands, and so I was just working at the time, and then like pretty much all my free time, I was just playing Eve, and I was doing like part-time school as well. Uh, and then yeah, as far as me getting on the AT team, that was pretty weird as well because at this point I had only been in the Alliance for like 3 months, and I was actually in class, and I got a DM from Leo Kokim. Some people may not know him. He's not really like a big figure in the Eve community, but he's
Never
pretty
heard of him.
important to like the Hydra team. Yeah, and he messaged me on Skype one day while I was in class, and he's like, "Hey, we
Skype.
need a few people for Alliance tournament this year. Do you want to play?" And I was like, that was what made me nervous because I was like, "Oh shit! Like, okay, this is like Garmin, Hart,
Oh yeah,
Kadesh." So I was like,
that's
I mean,
some
I
big
said
names.
absolutely. And unfortunately, that year was the whole
We won.
collusion
Let's just leave it
shenanigan
at
rules.
that. No, we won. Let's keep
I,
no, that's it.
yeah,
It's on my list of questions. I'm
Yeah,
sorry
Yeah.
to disappoint you, but I actually I don't know all the AT stories, so I was like curious, like what happened again in that AT 1813? Uh,
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
So
We can talk about
Starless
that
is
later if you
asking in the
want.
chat, Black Legion. So yeah, I was in Black Legion. This was around like 2013, 2014, and then yeah, I guess I officially joined Hydra in like 2015.
And then right
Um,
away into AT, and right away winning technically, but not
After
yeah,
officially.
we'll go
depending
with
on
an
how you look
asterisk.
at, we put a star on that one. Yeah,
So
but
what happened there? Why did you guys why did they take your wins away there? Like what happened there?
We
you
had
can
to play our practice partner in the winners bracket finals,
Oh yeah.
which was a best of 5,
it was
and
a best of 3. The winners
it was a best
finals
of
was.
it was a best of 3. Okay. So instead of showing the very best stuff, it was decided behind the scenes above even my head. I was just a line member there. It was decided behind the scenes that whoever wins round 1, full on bring your best shit round 1. Round 2, it's going to be full on, but the loser has to choose a B tier comp, like straight up. So that way you're not showing your best stuff in the winners bracket finals, and you can wait to the finals to go full out and show your
Hmm.
best stuff, right?
Yeah,
So they didn't like that, and it came out
It is
through a little bit of
fishy.
whining.
It is
There,
fishy.
there was a little bit of whining from some of our more well-known Cambion owner members at the time, and then it got leaked, and then all hell broke loose, and then the Reddit bandwagon got on board because they're like, hey, we can knock number 1 and 2 teams out and move our places up and get more ships, and
Hmm.
then it's become a big enough deal that CCP gets involved and results become results.
I mean, it's so old at this point that I don't really think like anyone from our camp cares if we talk about it at this point, like how it all went down. But from what
Did
I
you see
understand,
I mean
Kadesh's
it's
post?
longer. What are we looking at now? AT what? Isn't it
yeah,
17
we're coming up
18?
on
18?
19. I
19?
mean, this was back in 2015, so this is
Yeah.
what like almost 8 years ago now. So
Yeah.
it's old news, but um, yeah, I had a chit chat with apathetic Brent, who I'm sure a lot of people know. I mean, he's been around forever, but he was part of the Camel team leadership at the time, and same with Casper. I was obviously just like a line member. I just joined the team, so I had no idea what was going on. But the way he
We were
explained
trying
it
our
to
hearts
me,
out. We were pissed we lost.
yeah, I was pissed, dude. I was so mad when we found out. But basically, what the whole I guess situation was that the first match in our best of 3 was basically just going to be a skill matchup. Like both sides were just going to theory and bring our comps and try and beat each other. And then, like Casper explained it, whoever won that first match, then we were like, okay, the loser, us, we were just going to bring a weaker comp that we knew was kind of not I guess not bad in practice, but it didn't have a great win rate. And so this is where I started to catch on from like a line member perspective, because I was like, why did we just fly this comp? Because I know 2 weeks prior practicing this, we were getting slammed in practice. And I didn't want to ask any questions though. So I was just like, all right, well, it is what it is.
We
Like
just
we just
do
have
our
to make a
jobs
loose
and
You
line.
were just a good
Yeah, I
line
was-
member.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's
So
what
I
I
was
always
like,
say.
I'm
I
just gonna
just followed
play,
orders.
because
I just
at the
followed
end of the
orders.
day, right? I'm like, I just want to win the tournament regardless. So I'm just gonna play. Whatever.
Hey, we
it
did
is what
win.
it is.
We came back. We smashed them. That was the same tournament. Yeah, there was that really famous match versus PL with like the Marachas that died and all that. Is that
Oh,
same tournament?
Yeah, that was when, because after Camel beat us, they went into semifinals. And yeah, it was
PL.
Camel versus Pandemic Legion, and yeah, that was the match where like two, or what was it? It was 2 Cambions,
And a
Flag
Maracha.
Scorp Navy, and a Tana and a Maraca died. It was like
Yeah,
a trillion-esque match at the time.
I
It
just
was so
remember the
stupid.
camel ads. The first time.
Dude, camel ads were the best. Still
Yeah.
to this day,
Yeah.
you can't. No,
they,
those were the
they,
best.
They nailed it with the ads. That's
Yeah.
for sure. And then also, like, I don't even know how the ads work when it comes to the AT. It seemed like, didn't they like get the first match? They did the Slipnir. I think Camel was the first guys with the Slipnir Alpha kind of doctrine.
The boom headshot.
Yeah, they alphaed some shit off the field, but then in the middle of the Alliance tournament, the ads changed, and it wasn't like, didn't they use footage from the other matches then? So is it like, I don't even know how the ads work.
You have like windows that you can submit between the weeks. So like the first week, the AT used to be 3 weeks long. Now it's only like 2, I think, or maybe whatever. It used to be 1 week longer. So the week in between, matches 1, you were allowed to submit ads then to update. So they used footage from week 1 in their ad for the next.
That was pretty cool, I gotta say.
It's pretty good marketing if you think about it.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the propaganda in general in EVE and stuff. Like, I feel like that's a very
really?
unique. Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, what other game has this kind of stuff? Like, there's none, right? So, like, maybe recently, like, end of last year, I got into Foxhole, which is a bit of a, similar thing. They have kind of a bit of a culture, with a bit of propaganda, but not on this level. Like, there's no one making songs and like coming up with like really quality
stuff. There is no other.
There is no
real
game.
life simulator.
No, yeah.
You have propaganda. That's really good.
Yeah, and whenever like the old slogan, I always have to think of that is the EVE is real thing, right? Like, yeah, it's it's the people that make it real, right? It's not like, someone from the outside might just think, oh, these guys think EVE is like happening in
Eve's just
another
the
dimension.
Window we look at while we play our social games behind the scene. Let's be honest.
I've always said EVE is definitely more than a game. Like, and you don't like. I mean, there's not that many games out there where like these massive fights where all these caps and stuff are dying like hit the news, right? Like it's pretty crazy. Like I remember the whole, what was it, the BTEC R fight, where it was like, if you calculated the ISK lost, it came out to like 300,000 USD or something. And it was just like, that is insane.
And those news sites, they fucking love these numbers, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Like, you know it. Anything to grab headlines.
You see big dollar amounts and you get clicks, right? So they know what they're doing.
Yeah. And then like, so you also have like player reputation and all that stuff. So I just wondered, right? You said your dad chose your char name. So are you happy about that fact in hindsight? Like, what would have, like, I don't know what age you would have been when you would have created your own char? Would it be 11, or would it be like maybe 2 years later or so?
It would have been like 13, yeah.
Okay. if I created my child at 13, holy shit, that would be a really dumb name. So you must be fucking happy. BrainStraw is a pretty good name, right?
That's a decent name, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
You-
the whole
you got
origin
lucky.
of it, because I never knew why he chose it. Apparently, it references the original Starship Troopers movie, where like the aliens from that
You want to know
movie.
more?
I mean, I guess it's a cult classic. I've only watched it once, and it's an old movie, right?
That's a
It's fine,
classic
but
for sure.
yeah, for sure. But I guess like the whole premise was that the aliens in that movie, they use like, however they harvest the humans in that movie, it basically is like a brain straw. Like they just take the brain out of their head, and so that's where my
Like
dad got
the
it, I
slurper
guess.
like a coconut.
Exactly. And so, I mean, I didn't really care back then when he made this character because I just wanted to play the game. I was just like obsessed with how it works and like learning all the new stuff. But when I think about it now, I mean, it's pretty cool. It's unique, I suppose.
But take a guess. 13-year-old you, what would that name have been? Like, what were you doing other than Eve at the time that you would
I
have thought that
mean,
was cool?
I have no idea. I would have been in sixth grade at the time, so I was just kind of a clueless little kid. I didn't really have much going on,
The
right? But
original edgelord of Eve.
pretty much, yeah.
Now
It's
you
like
got a whole
Something-
set of these Zoomers following you around.
Something
it's funny to me.
XX, something XX.
XX like Dragon Slayer or something,
Yeah.
some stupid shit. But yeah, it's funny, and it's funny now because like I'm only 26 in real life now, right? But like the whole Eve Boomer term, like if you think about it, I am, I guess, an Eve Boomer. Like I've been around for a while, so it's weird because people are like, "Oh, Brain's a Boomer," and I'm like, "Dude, I'm literally in my 20s."
Yeah, you
Like,
might be one of the youngest Eve boomers out there, right? With 11, starting with
Ooh.
11.
I mean, I think before me, right? Because before I joined Hydra, I think the youngest person on the team was Soldat, who, for
Yeah.
people who don't know, he used to be like the original Hydra Logi pilot. He's insane at the game. But I think he joined Hydra when he was like 17, 18 too. I mean, he started
Maybe
playing
even
when he was
younger.
really young. Yeah. So
Well, the only guy that I know, like I think Tao started with like 11 or 12. I think he said 12. He started super young. Elo was super young when he started.
Elo, yep.
There's a couple like bigger names that are like super young. Like at the time, I wouldn't have thought even of playing. But maybe
Imagine
it was a different time too, of course.
Imagine all these young kids now being like 11 and 12 coming to the game and becoming a leader. You just want to look down at them right now. But hey,
Man,
maybe we should just
Right.
nurture them and let
Yeah.
them grow.
The thing is like, I think nowadays the 11 and 12-year-olds, they're not super interested in Eve. It's just not what it
Yeah.
is, right?
It's all about Fortnite and stuff now, right? So
Yeah. But maybe I feel like this is also like this is it's gonna be a phase too, right? So this is gonna be the era where they look for those super quick dopamine hits, casual games. But I think maybe that era is gonna end at some point where everyone kind of looks more at like the more long-term, serious, MMO style. But I don't know. I could be wrong too.
well, I know like a
Yeah.
lot of MMO player populations too. It like I've always thought about it, but like MMOs, I feel like are a hard game, or I guess a hard genre to get into once a game's age is past a certain point, because it's like at some point you feel behind everyone else, right? And I know like they've made changes over the years. You can inject skill points now, and it's a lot easier to get into, these bigger and better ships. But like, could you imagine now if like Eve was still the same, where you actually had to just wait to train into ships and stuff? Like the population would be very low, I assume.
But the thing is, I heard the same argument from people talking about CS. Like I play quite a bit of CS:GO every now and then, and you have the same argument. People are like, I've never played really CS. Like a friend of mine, shout out to Grace, like just recently, he plays other shooters, and over the years he has always been playing shooters. But then he's like, I can't play CS. Like these people have been playing CS for like 20 years. Like how am I gonna? I'm like, dude, it's just like you will get. It's like riding a bicycle. It's like it's normal. It's a normal shooter at the end of the day. Yes, it's a little bit more hardcore, and like the mechanics, you don't have the wiggle stuff, which I like a lot that it doesn't have it.
Yeah.
But like in general, it's a shooter, right? So it's like, yeah, you'll get a hang of it and you'll catch up. And I think no matter what game it is, people will always have that problem of getting into it if it's an older game, right? And it doesn't matter how
Yeah.
good a game is, how good it looks, or whatever. It's just like the fact that it's older. But maybe Eve having the like it always stated that goal of like Eve forever, right? Maybe it's that old that people actually start to wonder like, all right, there's no Eve 2.0 right here, so it's like, might as well have a look, right? So
I mean, it's crazy that this game is like 20 years old. Like, what other are there
insane.
any other MMOs out there that are that old? I really don't. I mean, maybe like RuneScape, I guess. That game is old as shit, but like
But it's
there's
also
not
how many people play RuneScape? Do we know? Like, does someone know?
No
Is
idea.
it as active as Eve?
I think it's more active than Eve. I
It
watched
is.
a video the other day, and it was some guy who was going over like the most popular MMOs of 2023, and RuneScape was still up there with like I was probably like 100K concurrent players per day or something like that.
Man,
It's like a cult classic at this point.
man,
Hey, did you
imagine.
guys see the number of players logged in yesterday? Like,
No,
Truth, did you see the
Is it
peak?
over like 30K or?
I saw 31K at some point yesterday. I was on most of the at least Pacific time zone. That's, I mean,
Eve
it's
is
not the
healing.
40, 47 that we used to have, but 30 is pretty freaking good for a while.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not sure how most people feel about it, but I think that the Uprising expansion was actually pretty good. Like the faction warfare changes were fun. I know a lot of people aren't fans of like the new UI and stuff, but that's always been a
A
thing.
lot of
Trash.
people. So let's be true. Let's be true here, right? Like, it's not because I'm on the CSM and I know the CCP guys a little bit. And I'm not trying to like. I don't sugarcoat shit usually, right? I think everyone kind of knows. Like,
Yeah.
if I don't like something, I'll be honest about it. But the UI, I think they did a fantastic job. Like,
It's not bad.
insanely good. It looks actually better. And it's a UI. Just think about the fact that
Casper's in despair.
yeah, but hear me out, Casper. All right, if you
I'm
have
listening.
a game that's this old and you commit to reworking the UI, right? Obviously, there's a long-term goal there too, adding features, making it more, future-proof and stuff, which is a huge deal too. But just not completely fucking it up is such a huge win, honestly.
It's done good, and it looks better. I won't give you that. And I think the only reason I'm in complete despair is because I've been at this stupid same UI since 2004, and I can't wrap my old person head around these new things, and it just, some frustration happens. But I
Yeah,
do agree they're all popular, good change, like double overview that you can have like recons
That's a
down
big
here
one.
and then everything else.
double.
That's
I've got 6
fucking
overviews
cool.
now.
Okay, freaking
Yeah,
wow.
so the bar at the top of my screen, it's 5
Yeah.
overviews, and then you have like
Oh, is that what those are? I was trying to look when I was watching yesterday
Yeah.
when you were dying.
yeah. So you have like caps, you have dictors, you have whatever you want, right? Man, I think it's just like it's a great fucking move.
Well, it's
Yeah.
useful
No,
for
no,
like any
I just got to
sort of
get over
pilot
it
you are.
and get used to it. But
Yeah.
change is hard
See.
for us old men.
Yeah. See, if it's only that argument, I get it, right? Getting used to it. It's
That's the only argument I
it's
have.
like for me switching from EFT to Python. Like someone who doesn't do a lot of theory crafting might think it's the same thing. I don't see a difference, huh? Right?
No,
But
EFT
for
was
me,
way
it
different.
was so
I
hard.
whined about that so much.
From EFT to Python, I don't know why,
Yeah.
but I liked EFT more, right?
Yep.
But
I
if you look at it, it
Python,
looks the exact
This
same.
is crap.
But it's
Yeah.
this, it has the same
Yeah, no, it
functionality. It's I think I got used to it. I don't know. Maybe if the EFT guy would come back, I would have a look. But
I don't even know who ran EFT. Do you? That was
don't know.
before I knew things.
I don't know. But
I mean, I like the thing I like about
Yeah.
Python that like Kadesh does a good job of doing is like if you're trying to find a certain module, for example, like you can use like the in-game lingo that players use, like, and it'll just find the mod that you want, right? Like even like old stuff, because like when they changed the shield hardeners to multi-spectrum, but they
Invul,
used to just be
yeah.
called invuln, like you can still just type in invuln in Python and it'll pull up like all the mods, which is pretty helpful. Because yeah, in my Eve boomer brain, like I still call them invulns. Like I cannot wrap
Oh,
my head around the
100%.
whole multi-spectrum hardener Like,
You,
it's weird.
you know what's weird though? I asked for like I'm not the only guy, I'm sure, for dark mode in Python for so long, and he always
Everyone's been asking.
yeah, and he always said no. But then I mentioned it on stream, and Ibans, one of the guys hanging out in stream a lot, he's like, "Wait a second, what? That must be possible." And a day later, he sent me a DLL. I put it in, and I've got dark Python, and I was like, oh man, such a
Kadesh just said over and over again, it's possible, here's how you do it. And we're just like, no, Kadesh, just make it a button. And he's like, reason, smart person talk that I don't
oh man.
understand. But he's like, if you want to do it, here's how. So I'm, again, obviously it's possible, but he doesn't want to make a public thing because I guess some smart person reasons that I don't understand.
Are you using dark Python?
Nope. I'm
Oh,
not a
man.
smart person.
Yeah, if anyone wants it, I'll put it in.
I still subject myself to getting flashbanged at like 11 p.m. when I open Python. I'm just sitting in my dark room. I'm just like, my
I've never called
eyes.
it that before. Flashbang.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, people on chat, like I do a little bit of theory crafting on stream every now and then, right? And people started making memes about like me flashbanging everyone because I opened Python. And it's crazy. So it really is. Well. But like, how much time do you guys spend in Python compared to Eve? What do you say? Like 50-50? Or is it 90%
10 to
Python?
1 Python. 10 to 1, honestly, Python.
Yeah, I probably.
I mean, the Geeve's up sitting there, and it's like, all right, I want to make a ship that can do this thing. So you go and try to figure out a hull and combination that can, hit that target. And you just sit there and play around and you poke your friends, and then you get flamed by your friends. And then you're like, all right, I'll go try something else. And then you poke your friends, you get flamed again. You're like, okay, I'll try something else. You just keep doing it.
Yeah, you have probably the same approach that I do. Like, so whenever I Python a lot, I would always like have an idea, like put it in Python, and if I kind of liked it, I would just throw it at someone. Usually the guys in my
Yeah.
corp or Shines or someone, right? And then I would wait, see what they want to like, what they have to say, right? And then sometimes it's completely ridiculous, but then sometimes every now and then, right? Let's say I think every like 10% of all fittings, there would be one there, where they're like, yeah, that sounds actually pretty cool. And then you're like, maybe there's something to this, right?
No, it's exactly true. Amelia, Kadesh, somebody will just flame me. Said, Casper, you're crap. Here's how you fix this. I'm like, all right, that'll work. So I'll take their fit out. But it's more of just like a bait and hook. You like, you put a fit that you tried a little bit in, and then you get somebody smart to do it for you, and then you take and run with it.
Yeah. And then you just keep calling it your fit, and it's fine.
Yeah,
Exactly.
That's a very efficient approach. Yeah. No. Whenever it came to like standard, like very efficient fit, I've never been good at that. I was always good at like just making like a weird fit and kind of getting the idea right. But the last 10%, there are some people out there that squeeze the shit out of stuff, right? Like Amelia, like rings a bell for sure. And then some guys are just really good at that.
I got a question for you. So there was just a big shift, right? They nerfed Serbs recently. At the bigger level, who actually does that theory that, hey, for this IS cost, we could, throw 500 people, whatever the level is, 100 people in these or 250 people in these. Who does that level theory? Is that you? Is that above you? Or is that just a conglomerate?
So in general, in big blocks, you wouldn't approach it like from an IS perspective first. You would just make a fit you think fits the need, right? And then if it's not too crazy expensive, like who cares, right?
Yeah.
Like it's supposed to be trading well anyway.
Do you just approach it as like, I guess if you're thinking at like a block level, like would somebody just be like, okay, we need some sort of like long range projection doctrine, and then you just kind of play around with ships and fits that meet your needs? Or
so I think everyone is different, right? So what I always did is, for example, now the war's kicking off. The meta just changed a bit, and the meta is about to change during this war, I'm sure, right? So
it has to, right? Because you both show your first things and then
exactly.
you both counter.
So what I always did is like, look at the fight we had. Okay, let's say we fought Eagles versus Eagles. Do they use a cap booster? Back in the day, you would be surprised. People wouldn't fit cap boosters, right?
Oh yeah.
Guess what? We bring a Void Bomber wing. Or if they have a resist hold somewhere, like what do we have that could actually hit them really hard? Just bring those, right? Like you would just do it like that. And then like I said, I would just make a fit and say like, oh, have you thought about this? Throw it at Shines, for example. If it's alliance stuff, like large scale stuff, I just throw it at Shines. He has the last call when it comes to init stuff. Like he is in charge of the finances, right? So yeah, and then if he's like, oh yeah, that's great, let's do it, and he just then we roll it out and do it, right? It's not as financial focused as you would think, but yeah.
Then why not? I'm going to get flamed and hated by my groups for saying this. Why don't you just bring paladins and vargars then? There's no counter to those.
Well, so I think on this scale, if you bring paladins, you have to be.
You don't ever have to bash into them, right? Ever, because you have so many of them, and you can volley anything. So then they're forced to bring caps, and if you have the cap number, like
And
this is above my head, so this is
yeah. The thing is too, though, on this scale of an alliance, how many people will fly a Tech 2 battleship properly, right? So do they all have Armor battleship?
I didn't think about that.
I think
Okay.
I think we, as in it, we probably have a good chance of getting a lot of paladins together. I really do think so, especially since we've been running APOC navies for a long time. So I think we could probably push into paladins. Yeah.
Do you ever see slow cats coming back in this like EHP ball meta?
Slow cats, for those who don't know, slow cats are like Arkans and stuff like this.
Yeah,
that's like old school shit.
I'm
just saying, everything's about EHP right now. How much can you get?
I don't know, man. It's an application issue, I think, right?
Oh,
and if you get caught, that's always the thing with these. The same with AB versus MW. We had a long discussion about a certain fit, Bjorn and I, and Shines, because we wanna roll out some stuff and do some cool shit. And the AB versus MWD discussion is always like, if you're AB, they're probably great when you win the fight, but they're really shit if you lose. And it's the same for slow cats and stuff. If you lose that fight, you lose a lot of your stuff.
Oh, you're losing your whole fleet. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you have something static like this. It's easy to just throw a bubble there. Power, like 90% of your fleet is bubbled and stuff. It's like, it's horrible. While, that's why the shield hack meta is so strong, or like is still strong. Like it used to be even stronger. Because like if you lose the fight, you lose a couple of units, whatever. You just move on.
Well, that's the thing too, right? Is that like hacks at least are just like so cheap right now, and they're just so effective. So it's like it's kind of a best of both worlds thing. But
yeah,
I guess
I think
one more question along that line. Well, you just recently stole one of our favorite members, sir. So I'm wondering if you guys look at our little 50-man tech. Do you guys ever take any of that into your block level stuff, or is it too, I guess, skill point or ISK intensive or whatever to bring to that level?
That's another thing that Bjorn and I had a long discussion. All right, when we talk about Stormbringers, for example, right? Like scaling that up. I always said from day one, Stormbringers are probably super strong before the buff even. If you have critical mass, if you have like 100 of them, like holy shit, it's scary. Scary.
Can the server take
scary.
That, do you think?
Right? See, that's another worry of mine. I'm like, I don't think they do. I don't think the server will handle it very well.
Yeah.
But whenever you see like battle reports on a smaller scale, they sometimes give you the wrong idea of what is actually effective on a larger scale. And then like I said something like, for example, there was a fight and you guys had a couple Stormbringers, not too many, but they ended up being top damage. But it was a long fight. Usually, like if you fight for 10 minutes straight on your scale, that is a long fight probably.
That's a long fight.
But on a large scale, that's insanely long. Nobody fights that long, right? So in 10 minutes, they have a lot of time to get on a lot of kill mails with top damage. So it's like sometimes it gives you the wrong idea, I think. So you kind of have to like know how to read a battle report to know what could actually be applied on large scale, I think. And Bjorn and I had a discussion about that. And he's like, no. Stormbringers are so OP, you need to fly. And I'm like, dude, yeah, I agree on a large scale, but like I think 10 Stormbringers, 20 Stormbringers on our scale, they're not going to be super effective. They're not going to be, forcing like an entire Munich fleet into their knees, If you're shooting at a block of 100, the stuff is going to spread a little bit too thin, I think. But yeah, 100 of them. Oh man.
I would love to
That
see
would
it.
that
Hey,
would do work.
Oh,
please
that's
record it the first time you guys do it if you do. That'd be
yeah.
so cool.
No, maybe we see that this war. No, we'll roll them out. So
I mean,
it's
the
our secret.
concept of those ships is cool just because it's like if you think about what the guns actually do, like it basically is just a counter to anchoring almost because it's like okay, if I want to stay
That's the
next
idea.
to my anchor, like I'm going to be taking damage as well, and then you like think about like how it messes up the other side as well because you just assume that as a line member, I guess they're going to see that they're taking damage and they're going to panic and be like, oh God, I'm going to die. I need to broadcast. And your Logi wing, their broadcast window just gets flooded with notifications, and it's just like residual damage coming from these ships. So it's
Yeah. And you know
cool
what?
concept.
Even a wing of 10 or 20 of them on a larger scale is probably useful. I'm not saying this is not it's completely useless. If you just constantly keep firing and people get lower shields, just super slowly, it's still useful, right? And then people start broadcasting. But,
Is there any sorry, keeping you on your block questions. Do you guys watch just AT questions? Do you guys watch market at all to see, hey, these are getting bought out? The enemy could be doing this because it's not us. Do you guys do any kind of that kind of watching for spying, or is it more, hi, I have everyone else's pings. We're gonna know what they're doing before their line members does?
it did happen before, where, for example, kickies. When we were running kickies a lot and we were hunting all day. I mean, we still do, kind of, right?
Yeah.
And then hostiles kind of caught on to this, and they're like, maybe we should get some kickies ourselves. And we could tell. Suddenly there's like 500 kickies sold in like a week in Jeddah. That's like, it gives you kind of a hint. But overall, it's super rare that you get to see that, because like usually if you want to start a new doctrine, let's say Horde wants to start one, the Jeddah market is not going to do it. They're just not going to do it. So they have to build it themselves anyway, so you never get to see it. But yeah, sometimes like certain doctrines you can see it. But then reading into this, like, what are you gonna do with that info? Like, you're gonna change your approach? Like, there's not a whole lot you can
probably
do.
Take it with a grain of salt. Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough.
You don't want to bank like any kind of strategy on it.
Just tinfoil hats over here, us small scale nerds don't know any better.
Yeah. I mean, it would be super fun if that was an actual thing going on constantly, where people like gamble a little bit. But I think the meta was a little bit too static for that over the last, let's say, 5 years, right? The mutants, mutants.
Yeah.
I
think
I got pretty tired of shooting mutants.
Casper, you would probably know this. Didn't like PL used to do that in older ATs? They would watch the market and see like what
100%
what Hydra was buying at the time.
There was
be like, oh, they might be using this.
Tons of back deal. Like even like skins. Like
sense.
In current times, people watch skins because idiots will be like last minute, oh crap, I need a skin for X
really?
ship. And we're like, yo, Brain just bought a Sleipnir skin. I wonder what he's going to be flying, right? And so we'll big brain each other like that too.
So you're talking more actively, like someone actually checks his own sell orders, like who bought stuff.
Completely. Or you control a certain market to know what's going on. Big brain. It's stupid.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like it's similar to like a nullsec, where people just like put liquid ozone on market to see who buys liquid ozone for his Sino. That used to be
that's pretty smart.
A very people like always did that in their own stagings. For example, I remember the guys in Curse, I forgot the name, that lived like in the Oshit area.
Oh, it's the asymmetric warfare guys, like Asar and his group, I think.
Yeah, they always did that. So if you need a liquid ozone and you wanted to drop then, well, good luck, right? They knew exactly, okay, that dude has a sign of it. Nowadays, you're in a Rapier and a Recon anyway, so they know anyway. But back in the day when it was on every ship, they could always tell. I know they always.
I'm glad that's changed.
Sometimes they would say in a local, haha, you just bought some ozone.
That's dirty. I like it.
Yeah, I always thought that was a fun thing. Like, if you don't have your ozone with you, what you deserve to to be called out.
True.
I think that makes sense. Yeah. Another thing on my list, by the way, my list is Chesser. Tell me about the bromance. We did that. Apparently, BrainStraw, you love the Karis. I always think the Karis is such a dirty ship. Like you gotta really try to convince me it's a good ship. Honestly, I mean, not saying good ship in terms of, it's strong. I know, but like,
Y-
why do you like it
y-
so much?
Yeah, so I think my love for that ship came just from the fact that in like most games, I like playing more of like a support role. I mean, even for like our AT, I'm usually flying like frigates or E-War, stuff like that. And when I first joined, um, we were always trying to just figure out like on a 5-man scale, I guess I'll just use that as an example. Like usually your comp layout, at least back then, would be like, two like main DPS ships. It could be like a battle cruiser or a hack or something. You'd have like your dedicated anti-tackle, and then you'd have like a scepter to tackle things, and then like your support ship. And when I first joined, like I didn't know I didn't have like a lot of knowledge on the game at this point, and people were like, "Oh, you should just fly the carries." It's got a long point and damp, so it kind of served like dual purpose at that point when the meta was different. And yeah, when Thera first came out, I just found myself like pretty much every roaming fleet I was getting thrown in the carries because no one else wanted to do it. I think was part of it because they were like, "Oh, I just want to hit F1 and do damage." So I was like, "All right, well, I'll just do it because I don't really care." Um, and then yeah, I just started to realize that this ship is overpowered almost. Like you basically can just make it so people can't play the game to a certain degree. Now, I mean, I'm starting to see it. The carries as of right now is not that great because with like the projection meta, I mean, you can get, a Navy Osprey, for example, can shoot rapid lights out to like 100 or even farther if you really fit it that way.
What do you think of Leopard
Marauder,
Lights, guys? We have to
They need
talk
to
it's
be
about that riddle.
freaking
yeah,
words I can't say right now, but they need to go away.
Yeah, so like, rapid light spam is a thing right now. Marauders, obviously, they're very E-War resistant, so damps on them. I mean, even if you wanted to like damp down a Vargur, for example, you need to put like all 4 on it while it's in Bastion, and it still can lock to like 50 or 60 or something. And the thing with the carries compared to the Maulus is that all the Tech 2 frigates, they get a strength bonus rather than a range bonus on the E-War. Um,
And you
so
don't
like with the
really need the
Maulus,
range, I guess.
well, back then it was you didn't really need it because not everything could project so far. So like what I used to do in fights is you would pick, you'd find the key ships in the fleet that you're fighting and put your damps on them, and you could pretty much ignore most ships. Obviously like Caracals and stuff because you have the damp for yourself as well. But it's like now,
Fucking Caracals.
since the game has progressed, and I think people have finally realized that rapid lights are OP and projection is just insane. There's just physically not enough damps on the carries to be able to efficiently protect yourself. And so like this just happened to me the other day. Like we were fighting in Delve actually. I think we were like one jump from 1DQ. And I literally just got like 3 shot in my carries by a Navy Osprey at like 90 kilometers because I'm already damping like 2 Lokis, other rapid light ships, and yeah, I mean I just exploded like instantly. So I'm I'm realizing that the Maulus and like the Celestis might be the way because you can literally just fit those things to just sit at like 150 kilometers and functionally perform the same role. I mean, you lose the long point obviously, but I think it's worth it for more damps.
So, guys, everyone on stream, see, I'm not the only one who hates rapid lights, right? I'm not
They're
alone.
absolutely the worst.
Yeah.
I was
Oh,
just
they're
looking through
dumb.
my last losses. Like my last 3 losses have all been 2 rapid lights. Like nothing you can do about that. They take no skill. You push your button and you watch your enemy die.
See, like,
Help.
that's exactly what I always tell everyone on stream. Whenever like I get triggered and I have to go on a rant about rapid lights, I'm always every time I lay it out saying, look, there's mechanics in this game. There's tracking, there's range, there's speed, there's signature, there's like all kinds of things that are all
Not for
kind
rapid
of
lights.
working together. So weapon systems, like especially when you have a bigger ship type, you have a little bit harder time. But then rapid lights come in, and they're like, well, we project maximum range, maximum damage. Damage is really high, right? Like they project,
Yeah.
they apply, they don't cost anything fitting wise. It's just like they get everything. Free damage type choice. Like what else? Like what else do you want? Like
It literally nothing else. Like it, yeah.
Well, and that's
It's so
why
broken.
like, well, that's why too with like the recent hack nerf with the Cerberus losing its range bonus for rapid lights. Like, I mean, that's a big thing for frigate pilots and like support pilots because now
it's
it's
something.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, because it's like now, okay, I can pretty much, to a certain degree, I can just ignore the Cerb now. Like, I don't need to put a damp on it. I don't really need to care about it unless it's just like specifically ramming me and my frigate. But I mean, you have these things. We just encountered this the other day when we were fighting in Delve. We've been getting a lot of fights in Delve recently, now that I think about it. But um, this guy, his name is like Legendary Saijin or something like that. Apparently, he's like a notorious triple boxer, and he just always tries to fight like nano gangs and roamers like us. This guy literally warps in 3 Onyxes that were fit for max range rapid lights.
Bro,
And
I'm
What's it
dude,
gonna do?
he was literally just destroying our frigates from like 100 kilometers. And the problem I was saying
He's
with the
in it,
carries
actually.
earlier and the Oh, is he
Is
really?
he in the
Okay.
chat?
Someone's
Is
saying
he
in
in chat
chat
right now?
he's in it.
All right, bro, come talk to me.
Yeah,
We're gonna have
well,
a good talk.
So what happened to me that night too? I lost a ship as well. I lost a carries and a sentinel in one night. One of them was to rapid lights.
Sorry, but like, let me stop you right there. Oh no, he lost the carrots and the sentinel in one night, guys. Like,
But well, the
come
problem
on.
is that it was to rapid lights and marauders, so it's like the 2 banes of my existence right now. But yeah, this guy, I don't even know what his fit was. I think we determined it was like double guidance computers. But yeah, this guy was shooting rapid lights from his Onyx at like 110 kilometers, and it's like you can't really do anything about that, right? You can't mitigate because they have almost perfect application. You don't have to think about the range because with missiles, like they just have a set range on them. So you're just like, okay, I need to be within this range and I can hit everything around me. So yeah, I hate rapid lights.
Dude,
So
that's
dumb. I was in a very
exactly.
shiny
Oh, sorry.
malediction at full speed, plated, and I go and just do a drive-by long point, not even scram on an Onyx.
He blew
I'm
up.
like, okay, I'm gonna get shot. Whatever. They don't shoot very far. Keeps hitting me, so I'm like, I'm gonna pull away. Keeps hitting me. Keeps hitting me. Keeps hitting me. I'm like 95 kilometers away from this Onyx, fully aligned. Pop. Freaking Onyx, rapid lights. Who the? Again, I was so ragey.
Well, I mean, at least he gimped his fit for a specific thing to then catch you off guard.
Hey,
You gotta give him at
props
least
to
that
him.
credit. But
I mean,
yeah,
apparently
rapid
he's
lights
notorious for that. He just like flies things that he can just counter like roaming gangs with.
does
But
CCP
he uses like off meta ships, which is pretty funny.
And someone says, like, does CCP know about this? Dudes.
I mean,
I told him.
Suetonia
Like, I
literally
keep saying,
talks every day about how he hates rapid lights.
Yeah.
CCP Kestrel, for people who don't know, like literally a CCP member that thinks that they're broken. So they definitely know about it. But
You know, I can't talk about much, but I can tell you, there isn't a whole lot of devs working on just balance stuff like this. That's just the sad reality. You know, you gotta squeeze it in here, squeeze it in there, and you really have to fight hard to convince the right people to, like, it's not easy to get these things done. But yeah, like you said, rapid lights, that's what do I get triggered about? Maybe the guys in chat can say, what do I get constantly triggered about? It's rapid lights, it's marauders, antiplexes, and citadels as a whole. Like those 4 things. I mean, citadels maybe less nowadays, but still, right?
Antiplexes are
And Griffins. Griffins, maybe, yeah. That 100 km Griffin that gems me soloing. Like, come on, dude.
Yeah, the Tech 1 frigates are actually pretty insane with like how much range they can get and how effective they are. And they literally cost like what, 5 mil? Like they're nothing. So but yeah, no, the Antiplex, I mean, I agree with you. Like my top 3 right now is rapid lights. If I had to rank them in order from like 1 to 3 in terms of how much I hate these things, it's Marauders, Jump Bridges, and Rapid Lights. Because
What about
I mean, Rapid Lights,
Balgorns?
Rapid Lights have been in the game forever, so it's kind of just like
What
one of
about
those things that you've been.
Balgorns?
What about ramming Balgorns, Brain? How high is that on your hate list?
Yeah, he's memeing me about a past AT.
I've heard about it.
We
I
don't
threw
talk about this AT. We can just move along.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was not a good AT.
But yeah, I don't know. It's hard. I mean, and the thing too is, I think in like 2018 is when I took like a 4-year hiatus from this game. I didn't really think that I was going to come back, because this was when like carriers were really OP, the whole carrier meta, and I was just kind of sick of it at this point. Um, and so, when I came back last April and like everybody was telling me that Marauders were just super busted, I was like, oh, they can't be that bad because, previously Marauders were not great ships. And then I ran into like my first Varger after like a week, and I was in my own Osprey Navy, and it was an RD Varger. Yeah, it was an RD Varger, and he hit me at 100 for like 10,000 damage. It literally almost one-shot my ship, and I was like, okay, yeah, this is dumb. But
when people talked about rapid lights, someone brought up like a rapid heavies, and I was like, I actually thought like, I don't know, rapid heavies are not really a problem. Could they ever become a problem? I don't know. I didn't see it quite. I mean, I could see battleship meta taken over at some point, but not really. Right? Like I said, they're so static.
No.
You don't have like rapid heavy holds that are really oppressive. So
I think like a Bargus fleet is just balanced by cost too, right? Like, sure, you're gonna pop anything you want in your first clip, but you lose that fleet, that's actually gonna put a dent in your wallet. Those are
I
expensive
agree.
ships.
I agree. And dude, if someone would start bringing ships, like if you see if you fielded, let's say 100 bar guests once, you can get away with it. You can dumpster some stuff, I'm sure. But if you
Yeah.
bring this over and over and over, we'll figure some stuff out. We'll catch you one day.
I'm
We'll
sure.
catch you, pin you down, and then you lose a shit ton of bargains. And then you have to do the math afterwards. Like, was it worth it? Maybe,
that's
maybe
like
not. Right?
a small super fleet on the field just in Bargus because they're so expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, somebody made a good point too that like rapid heavies also aren't really that oppressive to like frigs and stuff like
Correct.
that. But it's like
even so, rapid heavies are even not that oppressive against cruisers. Certain
yeah, I mean
cruisers
if you
can
can sig
totally
tank a
take
bit,
out
like
heavies. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not like
Yeah,
rapid
but-
lights that are just like full
No,
application.
you don't need vigils, you don't need webs, you don't need anything for rapid lights. It's just pop.
Yeah. Yeah.
this is okay, so this was actually a question I had last night for you, Pando, because we thought about
Right.
this last night, but the flycatcher doctrine,
Mhm.
right? We noticed recently that they always put like less skill point intensive people into vigils for that fleet. And I was thinking about it. Like, can you explain why they use vigils over something else? Because
I
in
don't
flight
know.
missiles, right? They don't need application help.
I don't
know.
I honestly can't answer that. But maybe those vigils. So usually when you see a flycatcher fleet, I would say there's probably a main fleet out there already, right? So those vigils, like in our case, for example, when we have a full fleet, we're gonna filter stuff out and send it somewhere else, right? So those vigils might have been in the main fleet, just support wing, like noob alts or like just super new players, and then they get filtered out and sent to the support wing, which might happen to be the flycatcher fleet. But yeah, if you see a pure flycatcher fleet that has vigils with them, I wouldn't have an answer for you, honestly. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just thinking about it. I'm like, why not just put them in like a Mollis or something, right? Because
Yeah.
Mollises are just way more oppressive or
So-
something like that.
Maybe my theory would
We
be
shouldn't say that out
probably
loud, Brain.
they probably have
Oh,
like
I mean, yeah.
a list of fits for supports stuff for like super new players, right? So they just join that fleet and then just pick one of those ships, and then they don't know, right? And the FC doesn't correct it, so it just happens that way, I guess. Or the FC thinks he needs it. I don't know.
All right. Is there a tip like actual junior FC tag that people can apply for, or is that just a meme that we've made up? Is there? There's like mainline, CTA high level FCs, but do you actually have a junior FC or a junior FC? And is it actually a tag?
Oh yeah, in it we have like FC, or we used to have. I'm not sure how it's exactly. I think it's pretty much still the same. We have like FC recruits. Anyone who is interested in FCing, join that group. You'll get some info, some people that help you like with like maybe doctrines or whatever. Then you have the next step would be roaming FCs, people that just take people out for like roams, right? Or like quick response for like small gangs, if an evil Casper and a BrainStraw show up, like, maybe someone wants to form like 10 dudes to, fight you guys. Then the next one would be skirmish, that would go into like proper fleets, objective tasks. Then the next one would be tactical, that's actually like strategic level stuff. And then the strategic FCs would be like super cap. Like that's basically all that it is, super cap keys, right? And we split it up like that. We thought about it a lot. Like I think it's a fun problem to solve if you think about it, because you want a lot of FCs in your group. Those are the guys that make stuff happen. But then if you have too many, it's too much. Like you have to hit the sweet spot. Then also, how do you get them in a natural progression kind of thing, like so they actually get better, everyone has enough opportunities, la la la, there's so many little problems that you wouldn't think of it in the first moment. And then the whole hierarchy of things, right? Like I just lined it up, it's like a very much like linear, like, or like you can see like a pyramid, right?
Yeah.
But maybe that's not the approach, right? I always suggested like having more of a flat hierarchy where you have like different groups. Like not every FC wants to be a Strat FC at the end. I mean, maybe everyone kind of likes being one, but that might not even be your playstyle anyway. So,
yeah, I guess I was just asking because we go into, again, a staging or maybe a forward base, whatever, somewhere with maybe like 30 or 40 people, and they won't come out. And, maybe we have spies, maybe we don't. But they're like, anybody can FC this, anybody can FC this. And it'll be like 30 people waiting for somebody to step up. And it's almost just like a confidence thing. Nobody feels able or don't want to get called out. And I'm like, how do you, exactly what you said, how do you cultivate that so any of those 30 people would feel confident, just let's go throw some at these nerds?
Yeah, I mean, on average, I think they're like less experienced pilots in null blocks than in your group, for example, right? If you're like a new guy, just taking charge of a fleet of 30 dudes,
that'd be scary. No, I
it's
get
far
that.
out the comfort zone.
It was a leading question. Yeah, how do you cultivate that? Because
Yeah,
I don't know. If I'm a new player, I'm not telling 30 people what to do. That's scary.
yeah, I think.
Well, and
I think you just like the only way, and I think in it we have always done a decent job, not always perfect, but always done a decent job with it, is like not making it a big deal if someone loses shit. Like if someone loses some shit, like whatever, you
It
like
needs to be way more forward in this game. People are too scared of losing.
Yeah.
Does he kill delete? Thank you.
Yeah, and then having a long history of doing weird shit and then opening it up also, like I think that's the main reason why I love our alliance so much. Like we're doing weird shit, we're willing to experiment and do stuff, and if it fails, it fails, so be it. Like it's okay, right? And then every FC, that's a meme within in it at least, that we have too many doctrines, because every FC has a different kind of style, so every FC can FC whatever they want. There's no restriction there. You can, if you want to fly a Bargas fleet, sure, you can ping out a Bargas fleet and let's go. The thing is, are you going to get 100 Bargas in your fleet? Well, you gotta have the reputation within the group to get those hundreds.
I guess it's like, if Shine's popularity contest there.
Yeah, if Shine's pings we're flying Bargas tomorrow, he'll get 200 fucking Bargas. No big deal. If someone who just joined pings it, he might get 10. That's just how it is. Yeah, and I think that's the only way to go with it anyway. Yeah,
it's interesting when you go roaming somewhere too, and it's like, like Casper mentioned, we'll just try and waltz into like a small staging system with like 40, 50 guys in it. And I mean, we'll even ask them in local, like, hey, we have this many guys. Like, do you guys want to
That's
fight?
what I was doing too.
Yeah, and sometimes they'll just say, like, straight up, they're like, no, like, we don't have an FC on. And it's like, okay, man, well, I mean, I get it, but it's like, there's literally 50 of you guys. Like, surely somebody will want to step up and even just like, mess around and just like cheap T1 cruisers.
They're all hurricanes at us. Yeah, like, come on.
That's another thing. Like I said earlier, like people stepping up. But then some people might want to fly their own doctrines, but they had like in mind and Python stuff. They have to have that ready. Or some people don't want to do like crazy stuff. They just want to do like a normal thing. But then do they have the right doctrine for the numbers they will pull, which they don't know exactly how much it is. Now think about it.
Yeah.
You're 15
Right,
local.
yeah.
Random FC, first time FC 123 is pinging. How many people is he going to get? He's probably worried about that part in the first place. Is he only going to get 10? That's going to be embarrassing, right? So,
Oh, that's true.
and
I
then
didn't think about that.
what doctrine is he going to put them in? Is he going to put them in like whatever? You guys are probably flying like, like a 7 guy, like kind of nifty little setup with stuff in mind,
Yeah.
scary shit, dude. Like, how is he gonna engage you with 10 dudes? And if he brings marauders, you guys are gonna be like, fuck this, right? So he doesn't
Yeah,
want to
it's a
waste time
dilemma.
either. It's so many little things, right?
Yeah.
Somebody said that to us last night too when we were roaming around. We were like, what did he say? They instantly brought like 3 Vargers or something, and we were just like, we asked them, we're like,
When
why,
in
dude?
doubt,
Like, why are you
Vargo.
bringing this? And yeah, the guy literally said, he's like, well, it's either ping for a fleet or bring Marauders, and I chose the easy option. Or he said something like that, and I was just like, I mean,
Yeah,
I
Go
get
him.
it, but
He undocked. I'll take that over
yeah,
anything
yeah,
else.
yeah.
that's funny.
That's also what I always say on stream. In the first moment, man, you get mad at the marauder guy, but then the second moment, you're like, it's not even his fault. Like,
No, he
who? I
undocked.
can't blame the guy. Yeah, at least he undocked. And like, if that's the ship that gets the job done, well, how am I gonna blame him for undocking the ship?
No.
It's like,
And
I mean,
honestly,
they're
if I see,
powerful ships, right? Like, why not
yeah,
use them? I mean,
if you
yeah,
only have one guy and you got to kill 10, nano brains, yeah, bring a paladin. That's gonna work perfect.
yeah. I mean, most of
Why
the
not?
times, most of the time,
Well, yeah,
it's not like they never die, right? So I think we all agree. Obviously, it's nice to see marauders in space. It's
and
it's not nice to see less roaming gangs as a result of it, though,
yeah,
because that's the reality. That's always the survivorship bias thing, right? That I also try to, you know, have like certain people understand. You don't see the fights that never happen. Like FCs, you roaming guys, we see those fleets because we have those thoughts like, how should we do
mm,
like this now? But then you go through the process and you're like, and then what? A marauder gonna show up. I don't know. Maybe I'm not in the mood right now. Let's play some League. That happens so many
right.
times.
welcome
People
to
don't
our
even.
corp, literally.
Yeah, that happens so many times, and it never shows up on any kill board. You don't see this, right? But on the other side, someone who wants to see Marauders as strong, they see kill mails every time, right? Oh, see how many Marauders died and so many Marauders got kills. Surely they're creating content, but it's like that's not how it works, really,
Well,
right?
Yeah,
yeah, and then it's like when you're trying to, put a group of guys together to go for a roam or something, and you literally have to consider every time, like, what if we run into a Varger or something like that? It's definitely not healthy if you're just worried about one type of ship every time you go out. Like,
It would be nice if one other ship could counter it in a decent way, but like you can bring one Marauder of your own, but that's not gonna cut
yeah,
it. That's the
but
sad
then they'll just
reality.
they'll bring
Yeah.
2, right, or 3 of them, and it's just like,
Yeah, or you sit there for like 30 minutes grinding down the other Marauder, hoping he's running out of cap boosters. And then
yeah,
what? That's another thing that I always say is like nobody solos in Marauder. Like I don't consider that soloing. There's always
no,
your friends are there. There's the safety net
his
right
cap
there.
truck's always there, bringing him cap boosters.
Yeah,
Just saying.
you see, not even that. Some people might take him out into hostile, but it's so rare that they're in hostile space. They're always in friendly space, right? Always that safety net on top, right?
Hmm.
But
I
yeah,
mean, it's a hard thing to tackle too, because it's like, not only are they prevalent in PvP right now, but they're also just really good for PvE as well. So, you have the player base where they only, these guys just want to get on, go run some missions in high sec or whatever the case may be, and they're like, oh, I'm just gonna go hop in my Varger or my Golem or something, and it's like, I I think that they have to approach it in a way where to pull them back in PvP a bit
yeah. How would you
without
do it?
completely killing them in PvE.
I do have some changes in mind that I feel like I can maybe get CCP to agree to and get it done. So, but like, what do you guys think?
I mean, I
Increase
think the most
Bastion.
like common one I see, yeah, like increase the Bastion could be fine. The one I've seen, because Varger is probably the big culprit here. The triple ASB Varger is just,
Limit
we
ASBs.
are we already have, yeah, we already have fitting restrictions for ships in the game. Like, why not just limit one ASB per Marauder? Because then that limits the effectiveness of Vargers in PvP. no one in high sec running missions, at least with like a real fit, is using an ASB to tank rats, right? So you're not really going to hurt PvE marauders. I mean, I think that would be a fine change, but I see people when you bring up the ASB topic, they're like, oh, like that, like making fitting restrictions is dumb. But it's like, but we already have that type of stuff in the game, right?
Yeah. What do you think,
Like
Casper? Oh, sorry.
Increase Bastion, lower CPU on the Vargar, so you can't do the triple ASB, and I think we're good to go.
Yeah.
Like
that,
I get that they should be really, really good if you put money in them, but for a Tech 2 fit Vargar to be able to tank anything I could bring at him, that needs to be changed.
so I always think about like a package of changes. One of them definitely increase the Bastion to a minute at least, right? So they're less.
A minute, really?
Yeah,
That's kind of long.
a minute.
guess,
It's not that long.
I mean, I feel
Think
like if
about
you
it.
want to take advantage of these insane bonuses, though, right, that you get from Bastion, like you should have to commit, right?
Yeah.
Like you,
So
Yeah.
yeah. So whenever I think about Bastion, what the actual design goal was, think of like a StarCraft siege tank. You move them into place, you siege up, and then you can apply, and you are like a monster in that spot. But you don't get to MJD that siege tank right behind the fleet. That's like that's
Yeah.
faster than
that's
a snake
ridiculous. Yeah. So I always say like, well, let him be strong, okay, but don't let him be that mobile. Let me be able to dodge him to a degree, you know? Because even a fairly quick Kaidi ship, like let's say an ONI, not insanely quick, but fairly quick tick 2 fit, right? Like if you burn straight away from Marauder, it's gonna take you ages. He's gonna MGD right after you every now and then.
Oh, for sure.
It's crazy, right? So I was that thought like, okay, you don't want it to be weaker than the Tech 1 version, right? So when people say like, oh yeah, what about the EHP bonus? Remove that because some people are concerned about fleet stuff.
Yeah.
I'm always like, nah, let's not make him worse than Tech 1 version, but like, let's make him at least not more mobile, right? It's like you have extra warp speed, you have a 30-second bastion, like large ADI cycle for 27 seconds. It's like, what are we doing here? It's like
Yeah,
there's nothing.
no.
You might as well not have a bastion cycle at all. And then, what's the other one? I think the CPU on the Vargo thing is absolutely on point too. Like, at least make him gimp the fit a little bit harder to squeeze it on. And yeah, I mean, that would be a good start, honestly. And then have a look, right? And also, whenever it comes to ships, I think it's not the end of the world if like they roll out the patch for the Marauders and they're super strong. Not the end of the world. Just don't have him super strong for 5 years straight. Have him strong for like a year, and it's going to be fun to solve that problem and stuff like this. But before everyone shifts every alt into Marauders and it becomes a really big problem, yeah, you gotta change it up then, right? It's like not.
I mean, they're basically just like mini mobile breads at the moment. Like they're the other interesting thing that I've seen for Marauders. I don't really know how feasible this would be, but giving them kind of like the Tech 3 Destroyer treatment where they have different modes, right? So it's like, oh, if you want to do big damage in your Marauder, you have to go into your offense mode. But while you're in that mode, your tank sucks. I mean, I wouldn't say make it like horrible, but you know, you can't tank 20,000 DPS while dishing out 2K DPS. You know, they could have an E-War resistant mode, a tank mode. I mean, that would definitely add, I think, a layer of like skill to them.
The E-War resist another thing, yeah.
I don't know.
You hit on a point there that I just want to bring up real quick. I don't care if they make busted things, but I would love it to be much more fresh. Hey, like Dota, or I don't know if League does this or whatever, they bring out patches that just, they mix up things for the hell of it. Hey, this, next 3 months, Tengus are going to be strong. And this 3 months, Ferox are going to be strong, whatever.
No, in EVE terms, a year is fine, right?
Yeah, no problem, but keep it changing, and then I don't care. If you make a mistake, who cares? It's 1 year, we'll fix it later. Like, 1 year sounds like a long time, but whatever, it's EVE. I think that just keeping things not stale, keeping you guys theory crafting, keeping our brains theory crafting how to fix whatever you're doing, I think that's what this game needs a little bit more. It's just some mix up and not staleism, if that's the word.
Yeah, that's exactly, that's exactly what I meant, yeah.
I think that circles back to the point, though, that Pando made earlier, right? About it's just there's not that many people in this game working on the balance. And I think it's
Maybe there
always
should be. Ding, ding, ding.
yeah, I know. I mean, we've been saying that for literally ever, right? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, we don't have any idea like what goes on at CCP or behind the scenes and stuff, but I mean, I think it's pretty common knowledge that the balance team is fairly small, and I don't
Sorry.
know. It's
What did you say?
it's
Balance team?
right. Yeah, exactly. The whole
Yeah.
meme. Like, is there a
I
balance
wish I
team?
was. I wish I was memeing.
Yeah. No, Nicholas in chat has a decent counterpoint to us, though. Imagine a new bro skilling for 3 months for a ship, then it to
Exactly.
get nerfed.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a very fair point, and I don't know how to mix these things.
Yeah, that's why I think if it's a high level kind of thing, like a Marauder, if you have that meta or like the ship strong for like a year, people can see it early on, see, oh, it's strong, skill into it, and you have a year time to really like get your use out of it. So if it changes after like a year, it's not going to be the end of the world, right? It's like the same with
Yeah.
Citadels being super strong, and people are being like a little bit afraid of, like, for example, oh, we can't just remove Citadels from HiSec. Like, yes, you can. But what about the people that are invested? Like, yeah, give them a little bit of a grace period. Tell them, like, yeah, don't
Yeah.
anchor new ones. And you have a half a year,
Yeah.
and then you should get your profit out of them. And then, like, come on, remove them and move on.
Marketing brain here, right? Isn't that only good for CCP? It makes people force, maybe injectors, maybe train new things, maybe force buy some new things that will scale into a different topic. That's
Yeah,
only money for them in their eyes, no? So I don't understand what the problem is.
I would think so. Yeah, I would think so. That every now and then there's something new that's strong. Yeah.
I want to circle back to like what Nicholas said too about the whole like the new bro skilling 3 months into a ship to get a nerf, because it's like I feel like that's the scary thing about being able to inject now by just buying skill points, because it's like yeah,
But
sure,
that's
okay,
ISK.
and
So it's like,
exactly.
it's not free, right?
For sure, but it's like, I mean, somebody told me the other day it's like what, 20 bill to skill into like a perfect marauder pretty much. But it's like, why? I don't even think a new bro should be doing that, right? Like, I don't even know why they're trying to get. I mean, I get it right now because they're probably just hearing that, oh yeah, marauders are super broken. But
You can run those level 4 missions easy now.
exactly, yeah. But it's like as a new bro, like I mean, I assume that you would want them to like learn the mechanics of the game first before they just hop into like T2 battleships and stuff. So
but there's always going to be some whales in terms of, like,
That was a nice way to put it.
credit card whales.
Sure.
And you don't want to send these guys to another game. You want to keep these guys for
That's their
sure.
cash cow.
Yeah. So yeah, you have to hit the sweet spot there. But I really think there is a sweet spot. Like, a year is, in my mind, in EVE terms, it's a pretty good duration for like a strong ship. I don't know how long do we have Marauders in this iteration. I should know, because I
don't know.
made a bit of a list, obviously being on the
Did you?
CSM, you gotta have your facts straight sometimes. If you want to talk to people, you don't want to be the guy, like, if there's an answer, a question asked, where you're like, I might have to look this up. You want to have your facts right then and there, but
imagine nerfing Ishtar and then scaring off the Chinese whales. Hey, listen, they tried to nerf the Ishtar. They took away the drone auto aggro, and then they gave it back. Wonder why?
Well, also, whenever people talk about that, I don't quite agree with Ishtar's being the issue.
Explain.
So, what if Ishtars weren't in space? That doesn't mean there's something else to replace them.
Good point.
Like, it's not a better version of EVE if there was no Ishtars in space. See, it's like, I would like to see a buff for people to be like thinking, okay, it's maybe worth taking out a Tech 1 battleship, to just do it in a Tech 1 battleship. That might just be worth it to just run my havens in that. Now I'm actively playing, and then maybe later on I'm just gonna do something else and watch a Netflix series and spin my Ishtar. But for now, I want to make dank ticks, so I'm taking out my whatever it is, right? My Raven.
That's a good point. I'll step back on my rant. No, it's a fair point. I'm glad they're out there, and it gives us something to even pretend to try to catch rather than.
Hey, I catch. Dude, let's like not too long ago, like maybe 2 weeks ago. I don't know what. It was an overpropped MWD Proteus, and I was catching Ishtars left, right. Like, it's fun, dude. It's so fun. It really is. It really is. It's
I mean,
it has its
catching
downsides.
the ratters definitely like escalates fights more often than not too. So I mean, it's not like an entirely bad thing, but I mean, I do see
Yeah,
the
I don't think
problem as
anyone.
well.
I don't think anyone here is suggesting we want less redders in space, right?
No, not at
No.
all.
Yeah. But yeah, I had a run with one of those. I was catching all the ishtas. I don't know what was happening. A lot of them were like in havens that ran out, right? Just sitting there AFK. I don't know. It was just easy peasy, just scooping them
That's a
up.
win.
Yeah. So sometimes you catch them all, but it's pretty rough to uh catch them. Obviously, holy shit, Starless, dude. Yes,
Whoa,
I
that's
mean,
like the
I'm
second
still
time he's done
recovering from
that.
yesterday.
yeah.
I'm still recovering from yesterday. People went absolutely fucking nuts. I couldn't believe it,
Serious.
dude. Oh man,
Congrats,
I've
man.
never seen that. And
I mean, I guess we could
but
segue into
thanks,
that,
Dallas.
Pando, since I've
Hmm.
heard that you are participating in the BSB video contest for doing. How's
Yeah,
that been for you so far, doing the solo hick and stuff
dudes.
like that?
So first of all, maybe we should explain to people what the BSB thing is. Maybe you wanna start there. Like
Casper, you
what's the
wanna?
actual idea of the
Sure.
BSB? What 1 second, I have one little question first, which
What do
is,
you got?
didn't CCP Rise start the BSB thing?
It killed two, yeah? Is that
Kill 2, yeah.
Kill 2? Yeah, yeah. So that was, yeah, one of the founding members of it. Was way back, and then it was Kill
All right.
2. And this is, again, I think it's the longest, don't quote, I think as long as anybody that I've talked to, the longest PvP channel in the game. Just like, so community quote, but before there was Skype and Discord and all that, this was
All
running.
right.
And so I got put in charge, well, not charge, but a leadership role in that many, many years ago. And I've been wanting to, start a little community for a while. And Brain and I talked 2 weeks ago now, and we're like, hey, let's do some competitions. Let's try to shift up the meta, not make it stale as we just talked about, and let's put a little video competition on there. Let's see if we can get some prizes. Let's just try to do some out of the box stuff and see if we can get a little community going. And man, it's popped off. We have like 320 people in our Discord the last time I looked. And for Eve, man, I'm freaking proud of that.
Yeah. So,
But out of that,
what's the goal? Like, what are you aiming for? What do you want to do with
honestly,
it?
just we want people in space. Literally, the end of the day, we want solo and small gang people in space and not going to your blocks. I'm sorry to say that out loud, but no.
Hey, we have some
we,
solar pilots in our blocks too.
well, send them my way. Just say it. But just like we want to give people a reason, not that they need it, but a reason to go, play with 5 of their best friends or even solo, if they're antisocial, like many of us reclusive Eve nerds. Like, go have some fun. And so what we decided to do for our first video competition is we're going to do 3 seasons, and they all have a start and end date. And our first season, we're doing 3 topics. So we're going to do best solo hick or dictor, which we're going to ask you about. I see you've been doing that. We're doing our best brawling video. So overall, solo or small gang, but you have to brawl. You got to commit. I don't want to see no nano, orthrus, Kaidi nonsense.
Yeah.
You got to commit
That shit
and
gets
see
me
how you
triggered.
do. I just come on. I don't want to see you at 150 with the Pete.
Yeah.
Whatever pisses me off. And then best EAF use, so solo or small gang, and it can be the Tech 1 or Tech 2 variant. So like a
Electronic
Mollis or a
attack frigate, by
carries.
the way, guys.
Sorry.
I just said for people that don't know what an EAF is, right?
Oh, sorry.
Electronic
Attack frigate. It's a carries, it's a crucifier, a Mollis, a vigil, hyena. Those are them. And I want those to get used more. Brain obviously uses them a lot, but I think they are such a sweet force multiplier for your gang. Like, they can control an entire grid, they can do
and
application,
they're
they can
engageable
protect you from
still.
Hugans. They can be. Like, if you see a solo vigil out there, I know Kellen is a very
That
popular
sounds
guy
scary.
in
Yeah.
Losec. He's out there in vigils and he's getting so many fights. Now, especially in Losec, you have to pick your ship as, will this get a fight or will this scare people away? So if you kind of think on this, nobody's going to fight a worm. A lot more people are going to fight, a kestrel, a vigil, a whatever. So it was kind of an idea there to get, maybe people that don't have the ISK to throw out for Hicks, which are expensive. They can go out there, in a Tech 1 vigil, whatever, a crucifier for less than 10 mil and still participate. And then each season, we're going to pick a winner for each of these categories, and we're going to chuck some Plex at them. I think it's almost 20 bill in Plex just for winning a season prize, which is, that's freaking huge. I remember my first bill I made still to this day. Like, I was stoked. I had one bill.
You got to take inflation into account, right?
Well, okay. It took ages to get that first bill. So some new bro flying, a crucifier gets 20 bill, he's going to be set for life until he loses one Marauder. But that's different. We paid for his first Marauder. Anyway, so what we're going to do is we're going to do 3 seasons of that. And for every single participant, period, they're going to get a raffle ticket, win or not. The winner will get 2 raffle tickets. And then at the end of our 4 seasons, we're going to give out 2 AT cruisers and 2 AT frigates out of these raffle tickets.
Oh, it's 2
so
and
those
2
are
now. All right.
2 and 2. Yeah, we got another donation. So each of these cruisers are worth a little under 200 bill, and each of the cruiser or the frigates are worth a little more than 100 bill. So we're giving out a huge amount of ISK, and that I hope that's cool because it was all donated to us too. We got a sweet benefactor who's been a freaking boss. I've been stoked.
Yeah. So I saw that for those who wanna, I put it in chat earlier. Yeah, I'll do it again. That way you can see the details if you wanna read about it and stuff, guys. I saw that and I was like, yeah, a solo Hick. I always thought like solo Hick could be fun and stuff. I have played around with Hicks as fleet doctrines too. I know Horde is flying Onyxes for very specific things. And then obviously Hicks have the mass entangler that can, you can squeeze a lot of Hicks to a lot of wormholes. So I thought always about them, but I always thought the DPS is lacking. They weren't quite convincing me, right? But then this challenge, I was like, all right, now I have to give it a shot solo and stuff. And I gotta say, like, I knew the bubble is gonna come in handy, but they came in way more handy than I thought. Now your local is going up. There's a gate. There's no gate fire. Guess what? Bubble up anyway. Burn to the out gates, and then see what lands in your bubble, right? And I catch like stuff here and there. And then, just having a scram not in your mid slot is such a huge thing. And then, the DPS isn't super high, but it's good enough, right? It's good enough. So I had like a couple really good fights. And then one of them being, I think, a stable Phobos, where I fought like 5 Caracals and an Enyo and a Scepter or something. But the Caracals, the first Caracal, I had to get tackled first, and his friends weren't quite there yet, so remove that guy. And then I fought the other guys and killed 2 more, and the Enyo and the Scepter. So that was a really good fight. And then another one was the stable Devoter. Just the stable fit, it's pretty easy to fly. A nice little brawler. And it worked all right-ish. But the 100-man Devoter seemed to be really, like, all round pretty good. Because, like, the 100-man Devoter, you can catch Ishtars and crack them, and you can tank them fairly easy. But you can also go into the ESS and not worry too much about it, right? So all round-wise, the Devoter actually seemed pretty good of a sweet spot for, like, all kinds of things. The Phobos has more DPS, but it's kinetic thermal. So if you catch an Ishtar, like,
locked, that's rough.
You're gonna be sitting there for a while, dude. But sometimes that spawns the right fight then, But then you have to still tank that damn Ishtar. So, but yeah, it was really,
a lot of DPS.
It was really fun. So I can only suggest to people, like, if you guys want to look into this, like, take out some solo Hicks. If you need a fit, you can always look at my killbot, pick one.
It'll definitely be interesting to see what people come up with, and once they start like submitting their videos. And I guess I'll kind of plug that here too, real quick, talking about the whole submission thing. We're still trying to work it out at the moment, but our benefactor for the AT ships has a friend who, another very smart guy, and he's designing a bot for us where it should make the submission process pretty smooth. Obviously trying to work out some bugs, but what you're going to do is you basically will just post your YouTube link in the Discord channel, the submission channel, and it'll automatically paste it to a spreadsheet where it'll keep track of all of like the video submissions from people. So it should be pretty easy, but yeah, we're still trying to figure out some of the bugs with it and stuff because it's a little wonky at the moment.
Oh, and I remember the first question I had is like, it's not the video quality. It's like, if you're in this contest, it's about the fight, right? For anyone who
Exactly.
wonders, you don't have to be like an edit god making like
No.
smooth transitions and like, I don't know, it has to be the fights that counts, right? So
For sure, yeah. And I know some people, like I know I know Grunt Kato. I'm sure a lot of people will know who he is. I think he's going to like some people like him. They'll probably submit, like a video series episode to the competition, which is totally fine. But yeah, like you said, I mean, you could submit just some bare bones like clip that you recorded, and if the fight was crazy, I mean, we're not going to take the
just
editing
fraps
into
it,
account
guys.
whatsoever. So yeah, like. I mean, obviously, try not to submit, some like 360p video or something. Like, at least make it so we can see what's going on. But yeah, we're not going to judge based off of the actual, quality of the video. It's just the
I
fights that
mean,
we're
if
looking
you've
for. So
held your phone out here recording, you're not getting that. But
yeah, yeah,
honestly, I don't give a crap about the editing. If I can see the fight and you've thought it out, we've done something kind of unique as a requirement here. We've required you to kind of use voiceover or even text over and tell us what your thought process is here. Like, so it's a learning tool in that way. Nobody wants to go
Mm,
back and look at their mistakes. It's kind of embarrassing. I don't want to see how bad I've messed up.
I
But if
like
you
that
do it
part.
once, you learn so much. Honestly, you lose more from dying and see how you've messed up than anywhere else. So that's kind of a unique thing we've added to this, that we require, hey, show us your fit, show us kind of pre-fight. What do you want to accomplish with this? How do you want to do this? Are you going to sit around the gate with your hick bubble up? Are you going to try to make a stop bubble with your hick? Are you going to go in ESS? Like, what is your plan going into this? And then throughout the video, hey, I messed up. I should have pointed this guy, or I shouldn't have took this fight because I knew this was happening. And so we're
Yeah.
asking people to kind of think through their thought process and not just, hey, I did this fight randomly and I randomly record it and submit. So we're asking a little bit of effort that way, but I don't care about the video editing, transitions, title, entry. I don't care.
Yeah, I appreciate the whole contest, and I hope there's a lot of people actually going out doing it.
Me too.
So from
Hopefully.
what I can tell, there's a lot of people on your Discord. So
Yeah, I think
hopefully we
so.
see
I'm
a lot
working
of
on
hicks
getting a
and stuff.
little CCP support to chuck in some skins too to, sweeten the pot a little even more. So if any of you guys
Mm.
are listening, go check out my app. I'm getting some skins.
Yeah, wait a second. Are you so when another thing with the beers? Didn't you say you're also doing a podcast? Like, so it's the smaller
Um,
10 thing, or is it
sure.
now?
We've just called it the BSB podcast. It's
All
going to be
right.
Brain and I showing up, not on a very good schedule, just like, hey, this happened. We got this guest and let's talk about it. And, super laid back. We're not trying to step on anybody's toes running podcasts or, that. But, the more people talking and playing about Eve, that's what we're here for. We're just literally here to push people out playing the video
Nice.
game.
All right.
yeah. I will say, yeah, because I'll elaborate on that point a bit too, because we don't really have like a set schedule. We don't really have a plan to do like, oh, we're gonna be live every week or 2 weeks or whatever. But I am trying to get some big name guests to come on, so it's a bit of a process.
Cando,
But
you coming?
Yeah, I'm
yeah,
I'm up for it, guys. Anytime.
Perfect,
and
Anytime.
you
perfect,
could
perfect.
definitely come on. I mentioned to Casper the other day. I'm gonna try to get Chester to come on. Getting him to respond sometimes is a little hard because he's a busy guy in real life these days. But yeah, it should be cool. I mean, we're gonna talk about whatever solo PvP, small gang stuff. We'll probably end up talking about how like some AT specific episodes as well. So should be fun.
Nice. All right. Yeah, that sounds like fun. Yeah, guys, we had an hour and a half, a little bit over.
Oh, snap. That's pretty good.
I think like I didn't go quite perfectly through the entire list, but maybe we leave something over for next time to talk about, or
Okay.
maybe on your podcast, right?
Perfect. Bring
Yeah,
the
we could
questions
always
over.
carry over. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I linked the thing earlier. Anyone who wants to join the Discord, so you get the notification when the podcast is live and stuff like this, join that podcast. And other than that, you guys have anything else you wanna say as your like the last words?
I mean,
Um,
I
Hot
appreciate
pepper
you having
lights.
us on. It's been fun. It doesn't even really feel like an hour and a half. I feel like I've just been kind of chilling here, so it's
That's
been a
nice.
good
I didn't
time.
feel the same either, but I have to pee so bad.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you. Yeah.
All right, Brain, we should talk about something for a long time, so we'd have to be longer. What do we got?
Right.
All right. No, that's cool. But honestly, thank you for having us on, allowing us to plug this. And I don't even feel like it was just a plug, just having a chat with the bros.
That's always the goal. Yeah. Always nice talking to you guys. And nice to get to know you, Brain, because we actually didn't know each other. But Casper said,
Yeah.
like, he's a super cool dude, perfect for podcasts. And I was like, all right, let's go.
Yeah, no, it's definitely nice getting to know you as well.
All right. Well, thanks for coming on. Everyone in on stream, thanks for hanging out. And yeah, have a good one. And see you guys around.
You guys.
Bye-bye.